Think your automatic car can handle anything? Think again. Today we're sharing some things you should never do in an automatic car. Stick around to the end for a bonus tip that'll help keep your transmission fluid in top shape. Running on low fuel might seem like no big deal, but it can actually cause some serious problems. The fuel pump relies on the fuel to stay cool, and when you're running low, that cooling effect disappears. Over time, this can overheat the pump, shortening its lifespan and leading to an expensive repair. Plus, when your tank is nearly empty, you stir up the dirt and gunk that settles at the bottom. This debris can clog the fuel filter and mess with your car's performance, or worse, damage other parts of the fuel system. So, it's best to keep your tank above a quarter full to avoid all that hassle. Some people think coasting in neutral saves fuel when rolling downhill, but here's why that's not true. Modern cars automatically cut off the fuel when you slow down in gear, so leaving it in gear actually saves more fuel than idling in neutral. Coasting in neutral also reduces your control over the car. If you need to speed up in an emergency, you won't have the power to do so. Shifting back into drive from neutral is also tough on your drivetrain, and you'll wear your brakes out faster because the engine isn't helping slow you down. Driving through deep water might seem harmless, but it's a risky move. Your transmission has vents that release internal pressure, and if you drive through deep water, those vents can let water in. In four-wheel drive vehicles, the vents are usually higher up, so water stays out. But in regular cars, the vents are lower and right on the transmission. If water gets in and mixes with your transmission fluid, you're in for some serious trouble. Driving through deep water may seem like no big deal, but it can create a thick, milky mess inside your transmission. This mess breaks down the glue holding your clutch packs together, and soon enough, the clutch plates are damaged. The worst part? This can happen in just a few hours. Even draining the fluid won't fix it. Once water gets in, the transmission starts slipping and could fail entirely. So, avoid deep water in a regular car. Remember, oil and water don't mix, and that goes for your transmission too. Keeping your car in drive at stoplights may feel fine, but shifting to neutral is actually better. When your car's in drive, the torque converter keeps working even when you're stopped, which generates heat. On hot days, this heat builds up quickly, causing the temperature to rise by up to 50 degrees within minutes. This strains your transmission, making it work harder to cool itself. Shifting into neutral lets the fluids circulate more freely, reducing pressure and preventing overheating. This simple shift helps protect your transmission over time, especially if you're dealing with a dodgy torque converter. Check out our video on the symptoms of a bad one if you're worried. When it's cold, your transmission needs extra attention. Unlike engines, transmissions rely on hydraulic fluid, which thickens in low temperatures. Thick fluid doesn't flow as easily, which can cause sluggish shifting and delays, stressing out the transmission. If your car's been sitting overnight, let the fluid warm up before you drive. Giving it time to circulate smoothly will save your transmission from unnecessary strain. Resting your hand on the gear selector might feel natural, but it's actually bad for your transmission. Even though it seems harmless, that small amount of pressure can cause wear on the internal components over time. It might not cause problems right away, but repeated pressure can lead to damage further down the road. So, always keep your hand off the shifter when you're not using it. Ignoring dashboard warning lights is a big mistake. Sure, the check engine light is probably the most well-known, but don't overlook the others. The transmission temperature light, for example, signals that your transmission is overheating, which can cause serious damage. The oil pressure warning is another one to take seriously. It points to a lubrication problem that could wear out your engine fast. And if the battery warning light comes on, you might have charging issues and you could end up stranded. These lights aren't just random alerts, they're early warnings to help you avoid costly repairs later. Turning off your car before it's in park can lead to issues. Most cars have a safety feature that prevents the engine from starting in any gear other than park, to avoid dangerous situations. Many newer cars won't let you remove the key unless the car is in park. If you turn off the car while it's still in drive or neutral, you'll have to shift to park before you can remove the key or restart it. The good news is that turning off the car in the wrong gear won't cause immediate engine damage, but it does disconnect the input shaft from the transmission. The torque converter powers that part, so it needs to stay connected to work properly. Accelerating hard from a stop can feel thrilling, but it puts a lot of stress on your engine and transmission. A quick burst now and then isn't going to hurt, but making it a habit can wear down crucial parts like engine mounts, suspension bushes, and the transmission itself. Plus, you'll burn through fuel a lot faster than with steady acceleration. Modern cars are designed to handle some stress, but if you want yours to last longer, try easing off those hard launches. Over time, that extra strain can lead to expensive repairs. Shifting into park before coming to a full stop is another shortcut that leads to trouble. When you slam your car into park while it's still rolling, you're putting unnecessary strain on the parking pawl, a small but important part that locks your car in place. It's not designed to stop your car from rolling. Over time, this habit can wear down the pawl, and in some cases, it can snap. If that happens, other parts like the locking pin or output shaft could get damaged, which might make your park function stop working. If you hear a grinding noise when you shift into park, that's a sign the pawl is already damaged. So do your car a favor and always make sure to come to a full stop before shifting into park. Neglecting transmission fluid changes is a big mistake. Some people think transmission fluid is lifetime, but that's not true. If you want a smooth ride, it's best to change it regularly. Aim for every 50,000 miles or so. Here's what to look for. The fluid should be bright red and have little to no smell. If it's brown or has a burnt odor, it's time for a change. Inside your transmission, gears and parts mesh together at high speeds, creating friction and heat. Transmission fluid acts as a lubricant, reducing that friction and keeping everything running smoothly. But if the fluid runs low or isn't changed on time, friction builds up and damage increases over time. All lubricants break down eventually, and transmission fluid is no exception. Never put your car in park without pulling the handbrake. The parking pawl inside the transmission is designed to hold the car in place, but it's not as strong as the handbrake. Picture parking on a hill or in windy weather without using the handbrake. Your car could still roll. Doing this once or twice might not cause damage immediately, but over time it can wear out important parts, especially on a hill. The lock pin isn't made to handle the full weight of the car, and even the engine bushings will start to weaken. Plus, there's no guarantee that the lock pin won't eventually fail. Using the handbrake is an easy way to keep your car safe and prevent unnecessary wear on key components. Idling your car and drive for too long isn't the best habit. A few short idling spells won't cause major issues right away, but if it becomes a regular thing, it could lead to problems. Most newer cars have electric fans to keep air moving through the radiator, so if the cooling system is working and it's not a hot day, you should be fine. Diesel engines, though, can be affected by long idling, leading to ring wash. This is when fuel doesn't burn fully at low temperatures, allowing raw fuel to mix with the oil. This thins out the oil, and that's definitely a problem. Petrol engines can also experience oil dilution over time. It's much better to turn off the engine if you're just sitting and waiting. Restarting your engine doesn't burn as much fuel as letting it idle for long periods. Shifting from drive to reverse or vice versa while the car is moving can cause serious issues, especially in older cars. If you don't come to a full stop before changing gears, you're putting a lot of strain on the transmission, and that strain could lead to costly repairs, sometimes over $3,000. Newer cars are a bit smarter though. They have systems that won't let you shift gears until the car is fully stopped. So if you try to pop it into drive or reverse while still moving, the transmission won't engage until it's safe. It's an easy way to avoid those pricey fixes. When you're stuck in the snow, it can be tempting to rev the engine and spin the wheels, but that can seriously damage your transmission. Instead, try gently easing into reverse, taking care not to put too much strain on the car. You'd be surprised how much this helps. Another trick is to use some traction aids, like a bag of non-clumping cat litter, sand, or even some carpet scraps. Spread it in front of and behind your wheels. Focus on the front wheels if you have front-wheel drive, or on the back if you have rear-wheel drive. If you're driving a truck or an SUV, switch to low-range settings to maintain better control over power and traction without stressing the car. Here's a bonus tip. A small shovel can help clear away excess snow around your tires. If you live in a snowy area, snow tires or traction boards are worth considering. They're reusable and work great when conditions get tough. So, remember, don't slam on that gas pedal. Use these simple tricks to keep your car and transmission safe. And finally, don't leave your car parked in direct sunlight for too long. The sun doesn't just heat up the inside of your car, it also warms up everything under the hood, including your transmission. Over time, that extra heat can dry out important seals and break down transmission fluid faster. The result? You might start noticing sluggish or delayed shifts. But here's the good news. It's easy to avoid. Whenever you can, park in the shade. If shade isn't available, use a windshield sunshade. These simple steps can protect more than just your transmission. Sunlight can also wear down your car's paint, headlights, and even your tires. UV rays break down the clear coat on your paint, causing it to fade or peel. Your headlights might get that yellowed, hazy look and lose brightness. Even your tires can suffer, as direct sunlight dries out the rubber, causing cracks that weaken them over time. So, remember, keeping your car out of direct sunlight isn't just about staying cool, it's about preserving your car's performance and appearance. Whether it's shade, a sunshade, or any kind of cover, it all goes a long way in protecting your car. By avoiding these common mistakes, you can save yourself from costly repairs and extend your car's lifespan. Small adjustments make a big difference in keeping your automatic running smoothly. Now, we want to hear from you. What's the biggest mistake you've seen drivers make with their transmissions? Share it in the comments.